Have you ever paid for something by simply tapping your card against a payment terminal and wondered how money somehow moves without your card even touching anything? It almost feels like magic. There's no swiping, no inserting the card into a machine, and often no waiting. Just a quick tap, a beep, and you're done. Millions of people use contactless cards every day, yet most have no idea what's happening during those few seconds. Today, we will uncover the invisible technology that lets your card communicate through thin air and move money in an instant, right here on History of Simple Things. Before we get into how contactless cards work, it helps to understand where they came from. For decades, payment cards relied on physical contact. Early credit cards used raised numbers that merchants copied onto paper slips. Later came magnetic stripes, which stored information that could be read by swiping the card through a machine. In the 1990s and early 2000s, banks began introducing chip cards, which were far more secure. Around the same time, engineers were experimenting with a way to make payments even faster. Their solution was contactless technology, allowing cards to communicate wirelessly with payment terminals. What started as a convenience feature eventually became one of the most common ways to pay around the world. So how does a contactless card actually work? Inside every contactless card is a tiny computer chip connected to an even tinier antenna. Although the antenna is hidden within the layers of plastic, it forms a thin coil that runs around part of the card. This antenna is the secret that makes contactless payments possible. When you tap your card near a payment terminal, the terminal generates a small electromagnetic field. Think of it like an invisible bubble of energy extending only a few centimeters from the machine. The antenna inside your card captures a tiny amount of this energy and uses it to power the chip for a brief moment. This is important because most contactless cards don't contain a battery. They don't have their own power source. Instead, they borrow energy from the payment terminal itself. The moment the card enters the terminal's electromagnetic field, it wakes up and becomes active. Once powered, the chip and terminal begin communicating using a technology called NFC, which stands for Near Field Communication. NFC is a short-range wireless communication system designed specifically for devices that are extremely close together. It's actually related to another technology called RFID, or radio frequency identification, which is used in things like inventory tracking, access cards, and electronic toll systems. The card and terminal exchange information through radio waves. This all happens in a fraction of a second. The terminal asks the card for payment credentials, and the card responds with the information needed to process the transaction. But if the card is sending information wirelessly, doesn't that make it easy for thieves to steal? This is where modern payment security becomes remarkably clever. Contrary to what many people assume, contactless cards do not simply broadcast your card number in plain text. Instead, they use sophisticated encryption and security systems. Every transaction generates a unique cryptographic code that can only be used once. Even if someone somehow intercepted the transmitted information, that data would be useless for making another purchase because the code expires immediately after the transaction. This process is sometimes called dynamic authentication. Rather than repeating the same information every time, the card creates a fresh security token for each payment. It's one of the reasons contactless payments are often considered as secure as chip-based transactions and, in some situations, even more secure than using a magnetic stripe. Another reason contactless cards are relatively safe is their extremely short operating range. Typically, the card must be within just a few centimeters of the terminal. Unlike Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, which can work across rooms, NFC is intentionally designed for very close proximity. This dramatically reduces the risk of unauthorized communication. The speed of the transaction is another impressive part of the system. When you tap your card, several things happen almost instantly. The terminal powers the card authenticates itself, encrypted information is exchanged, the payment network verifies the transaction, and an approval message is sent back. What feels like a simple beep is actually the result of multiple computers communicating and verifying data in less than a second. As contactless technology became more widespread, it expanded beyond physical cards. Smartphones and smartwatches now use the same NFC technology. Services such as mobile wallets allow people to store virtual versions of their cards and make payments by tapping their devices instead. In many cases, these systems add another layer of security by requiring fingerprint scans, facial recognition, or device passcodes before approving a payment. Today, contactless payments are used in supermarkets, restaurants, public transportation systems, vending machines, and countless other places around the world. In some cities, commuters can simply tap a card or phone at a transit gate and continue walking without stopping. The technology has become so common that many younger users have never experienced a time when every payment required inserting a card or signing a receipt. What feels like a simple tap is actually the result of decades of engineering, security innovation, and technological evolution. And all of it happens so quickly that most of us never stop to think about it. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.